Welcome back to the KIX 96.5 Morning Show. We love featuring artists you should know about. And today we're heading to Ohio to chat with award-winning singer-songwriters Eleyet McConnell. Eleyet McConnell is comprised of husband and wife duo Chris and Angie. They live in Dayton, Ohio. They met in 2013. They got married in 2023. Their debut album, Crazy World, came out in December of last year, and they just released the second single off it called Surrender. We're excited to have Chris and Angie from Eleyet McConnell on the show. First, thanks so much for coming on.
Hey, thank you.
We're thrilled to be here.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Well, you met in 2013. Crazy World is like this raw, emotional, bluesy kind of rock album. What was the sound? I mean, is it taken 10 years to sculpt the sound? How was it when you first started writing music?
Well, you know, the weird thing about this is I've been in the music business a lot of years, and Angie didn't start writing until probably about 2017, 2018.
16,
you think?
16 I started dabbling. I didn't know I had that kind of, locked up inside of me. And the more time Chris and I spent together, and then all of a sudden, once I started, it was really like floodgate. That's kind of cliche sounding, but that's not an exaggeration. I couldn't stop lyrics from just eking out of me. So it's been coming pretty fast for us, and it's evolved, over time a little bit, but it was not difficult for us to kind of find our.
It took a while for her to catch on. I would do a lot of riffs, and so I wrote a lot of music, and it was trying to get her. You can't force somebody to write, they got to hear it. And eventually, one day, she picked up on something I was playing, and then it just went from there.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So, sometimes you never know how it works, but I mean, you meet in 2013. Were you both in a relationship? I want to know, how did the love happen?
Yeah, we were in a band together, and each of us had been in separate projects prior to that, but we ended up in this same band together. And almost immediately, the chemistry on stage was always there. We became the very, very close friends. We were just the best of friends. He was one of the people I could talk to about anything, and vice versa. We did not become, romantically involved until very, very late into 2017 or 2018.
2019.
Yeah.
And, the relationship started with words way before it started with us. We would write lyrics back and forth to each other. A lot of times it was just our messaging in back and forth, that ended up becoming songs.
Wow.
Some of them on this album.
Well, yeah, because, writing music together is romantic. Getting closer and closer, spending time with each other, probably brought you guys closer.
It did.
Well, for me, because I was somebody who just kind of went, I was going through my world, and my life was fine, it wasn't like in a bad place or anything like that, but I guess I kind of hadn't found my true self, and I had decided I was going to go on a certain path, and that's where I was headed, and then I meet this person who, for somehow, and some reason, just kind of can see right through all of the exterior that I had built over time to, make people think I was happy in myself when I really, really wasn't, and I had to come to grips with that. And the more that we wrote, I can remember sitting and thinking, "Oh my God, I could be in so much trouble here. How is this possible?" And it did really kind of go along like that for me.
You can understand our entire relationship if you chronologically follow the songs we've written. And they're all relatable to anybody else who has these kind of experiences and emotions.
I think we all go through it.
Yeah. Well, go and check out their new album. Their debut album, Crazy World, is out now. The single Surrender is out now. It's Eleyet McConnell. It's Eleyet.
Yeah.
Which is the craziest Eleyet spelling, I think.
It is.
It took me like 2 days to figure out. I was like, what is that word?
Everybody wants to go Eyelet,
Yeah.
That was Angie's last name.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we just decided to put both our last names together. And then when we got married, there was the idea of going McConnell. McConnell, it sounds too much like an attorney firm or a law insurance company.
Yeah. McConnell squared. So they stuck with Eleyet McConnell. EleyetMcConnell.com. They're also on Facebook. Go and check them out. Go and like them. Go follow them.
Please do.
Chris, you're playing bass. Angie plays guitar and stuff, but who's doing the guitar work? Like the solo on Bed of Roses. Who's doing the guitar work on the album?
when we went into the studio, it took us about 2 years to do this album, and the first year basically got shelved because we were trying to figure out how to go about it. Angie and I walked into the studio with the idea of just recording as a two-piece or maybe a drum machine.
And I play keyboards, actually. And I'll even back up to say I'm a singer that can play a little bit of keyboards. You know, there's so many people way better than I am. But we had to start using studio musicians.
Yeah, session
for this
musicians.
project. And
what's great about that is our producer, J.D. Harris, we had no intention of even getting a producer, but he took the song Surrender, which, you know, I don't know if that was even intended to be on a record. We recorded a lot of stuff.
But it came out.
But he wanted to borrow that song and play with it a little bit, you know, in the studio. And we allowed it. You know, when it came back, we thought, okay, you're our producer. And
but for the guitar work on those two songs that you mentioned, like, so there's two primary guitar players on the album that worked with us. The guy that did the majority of the work, and he is on Bed of Roses, his name is Elton Clifton. And I cannot say enough good things about Elton. One, he's just a super wonderful human. Super nice guy. His wife is lovely. Their kids are lovely. We've met them all. And just really cool people. But what a talented musician. I mean, that guy's really amazing. But on Bed of Roses, we had a second guy come in and do some stuff because we're trying to change it up a little bit and, you know, add some depth to the album. And Rob Olson ended up doing the solo on that. So they're both actually on that track. And Rob is a very good guitar player in his own right and is a rep for a national, or he's a national rep for a pretty reputable guitar company out of Australia, which I won't mention just in case I'm not supposed to.
Acoustic guitars, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, we allowed anybody that was really putting anything on. J.D. Harris, he put some, you know, Hammond B3 in there and synthesizers in some of our songs. The guitar players, we don't tell them what we want. The song goes to them. We send the stems to their studios. J.D. has a little conversation with them, and he pretty much follows the whole route with them. And we allow them to have creative freedom with the song.
But it worked great
and
because they slipped
like
right into our vibe.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they couldn't have been better. Yeah.
No,
we loved it.
Works great and sounds great. Where's J.D. Harris at? Is he in Ohio?
Yeah, he's in the Dayton area in a town called Kettering.
Okay.
He's a pretty accomplished musician, and years ago toured with some bands and things like that. But you know, he did actually a lot of all the B3 work that you hear throughout the album, and some synthesizer stuff here and there. He's amazing. We love him. He's become a very good friend of ours.
You know, he was actually in a jazz band that played down in Cincinnati quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And as soon as he started producing for us, he's like, you know, I only have enough time for one thing. So I'm putting all my time into this. So, you know, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're going to be using him for the next album as well, you know, because once we kind of get this click going, you don't really want to disturb it, you know.
Very good.
No. Yeah. Once you get rolling in, it's working out great. Go and check them out. Eleyet McConnell. They're at EleyetMcConnell.com. They're on Facebook. Go to YouTube. Check out their stuff. The new single, Surrender, along with a music video, is out now. I was looking on your Facebook page, Chris. The school bus remodel. Is this thing done?
Yeah. You know what? I had to put a pause on that because I broke my leg on September 11th, and so bad that I had to get a plate and screws. I went 2.5 months. I couldn't walk.
Oh, jeez.
And then from there, we owned 2 houses, and we decided to move to one of them in Kings Creek, Ohio, which is just about 5 miles
from where we live now.
5 miles from where we live now. So we've been involved in a total renovation of this house. You know, this is the house you die in.
Because we don't have enough to do.
Yeah. So you throw everything you have into this house and make it your dream house. So that's what we're doing. I plan to get back on that bus, and you know, I've got some good stuff in it. You know, it's going to be completely self-sufficient.
We're going to drive that out to Wyoming.
Well, exactly. That's what I was going to say. There's your Wyoming road trip vehicle right there.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You're ready to go. Can you guys believe? I mean, you guys are huge in the UK. What's the deal with the UK?
God, I don't know. I wish I could figure that out and, you know, replicate it over here. It's weird.
You know, you always hear the stories where a lot of things happen overseas, over across the pond before it happens over here. when we released the first single October 7th, which was Getting By the end of that weekend, we released that on a Friday.
26 on the
yeah, and we hit number 26 in the top 40 there in the UK. And, right now we're all over the globe. We're in South Africa. We're New Zealand. We're down in Australia, even Ukraine,
Wow.
We've done interviews in Spain. We've done them in Italy. A lot of stuff is happening globally with this album.
We love it, though.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, exactly. Take the love anywhere you can. And the International Singer-Songwriters Awards, you guys are up for like 5 or 6 nominations this year, so congrats.
Yes, thank you. Excited to see how that all pans out. It's the first, this is just a dream to be able to play music and people like it anywhere, even if it's just completely local. Then to put your album out and to have such great reviews about it and to hear that people are liking it from across the world is surreal for both of us. I still think there are times when we're trying to wrap our heads around it.
What's interesting is you can through the digital platforms, you can dig deep, and Angie's real good at doing this stuff. So you can dig deep and find out what our demographics are. Prior to the album release, we were sitting around 35 to 55, and the majority of that age group was women. Now, since release, it's 25 to 35, and primarily male.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sort of did a somersault a little bit.
Yeah.
But, yay,
you never know.
We'll take it.
Exactly. Yeah. Whoever's liking it, go and check it out. The album is amazing. It's called Crazy World by Eleyet McConnell, Eleyet McConnell. Go and search for him. Anywhere you get music, go to Facebook, go and like them, and listen to Crazy World on your streaming services. I mean, because Getting By, we played it at the top of the hour. I heard where you guys said you grabbed a bottle of Patron and wrote the lyrics.
Yeah.
Is that ritual? Is that normally what happens? What?
No, not every time. That night, it's what happened.
A friend of ours, Rick Schutte, he sent us the intro that, and then, so then from there, we sat around a cutting board, opened up a bottle of Patron, and by the time we were done,
the bottle was empty, and the lyrics to the song were on it.
Hey.
And we didn't feel very good the next day.
Yeah, you were barely getting by.
Barely,
the next day.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, and you mentioned Rich, because did you write Surrender with him and JD, Angie?
So Rick and I were sitting in the front row, and he and Chris have been friends for decades. And Rick plays guitar, and his superpower is the guy can just sit there and come up with these, little snippets of melodies or guitar riffs that then Chris can, his superpower, can just start playing on bass and come up with this whole line. He hears the whole thing in his head, and I usually come up with words later. And sometimes now with Surrender, Rick started playing just kind of this general vibe of the song, the melody of the song. And this is one of those that was very personal for me lyrically, and was kind of a reflection back on one of my more difficult times in my life. And those words just came after me like a flood, and I actually got a little misty-eyed, and I was like, I gotta play that again, just keep playing that. And I was writing them down as quickly as I could. And then over time, and then once, like Chris had mentioned earlier, once JD got a hold of that, transformed it into what it is now. It's beautiful.
It's one of those songs that, and every band does this, you come up with what could be the greatest hit, but then it just disappears into space. And that song would have been the same thing had Angie not picked up on it, and then it captured her lyrically to put these words down. I, in the meantime, was in the kitchen doing something. When I came back, they had kind of jimbled on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it is one of those songs that just, when JD got it, I had to completely relearn how to play it, because it did do some changes.
But, it was, and that's why, Rick and I talked, it's like we really should give, some writing credit to JD on this one, because he's really taken this song to a whole new level.
Yeah.
And we couldn't be more happy with it. So that's how that became a trifecta of authors.
Yeah.
On that song.
Yeah. The one thing we want to do is be fair over anything.
Always.
If somebody gets credit, we give them credit, We're not going to sit there. We're old enough right now that we're not desperate,
and it takes a village.
Well, yeah.
It's a machine. It's a machine.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the good thing about being older now. is you can have fun. You're not out to make $1 million. You know, you can take your time. There's no pressure.
We'll take $1 million.
You will take it though.
Yeah. Well, exactly. We'll take the $1 million. That's for sure.
You know, but that's not really what our that's not our purpose.
It's not our primary motive.
Yeah,
No.
It's not what pushes us. It's just writing and getting songs out. You know, to me, I mean, when you die, when you're gone, within a generation, everything that was most important physically to you, material objects, gets dispersed into the wind. Maybe a few things are kept by family. So it really comes down to a legacy. What do you leave behind that can last a few generations, you know?
Yeah,
Music lasts forever.
And music lasts forever. We're chatting with Chris and Angie from Eleyet McConnell. Go check them out, EleyetMcConnell.com. Crazy World, the album is out now. We were talking before what was coming next. We don't know what's single. I mean, Who Said It Was Fair? Don't Tell Me Why. I didn't know. All three great songs. And then,
Thank you.
like at the end, like the second to last track, the cover of You Ought to Know. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Wow, why this song? Or where did this come from?
Well, you know, Chris, that song got Chris and I in a lot of trouble. I think when the relationship started.
Yeah, that there's a story behind it that we can't make public.
It's endearing in a little way to us, so...
yeah, so we had to put that on there. It was kind of
it's my girl ragey song, you know. You gotta love Alanis Morissette for that. She's masterful at that sort of thing. And we thought, well, let's just kind of, you know, put a little bit of a toned down kind of groove to it, and there it was. We loved it.
You know the song Who Said It Was Fair? Angie and I had written this down and had music a certain way, but then a drummer that's on every one of the tracks except for two of them, Kenny Burnett, he changed up the drum beat, which really changed the song completely up. I couldn't find my place as a bass player in that until about an hour before we went to the studio.
The truth.
Yeah.
Sitting in there racking his brain, what the heck am I going to play on this? I still know I'm music on.
And you know,
totally different.
And that song I actually wrote about Angie. But she didn't know that.
Because he lied to me about it. But that's, you know, again, story for us.
I told her I'd written it a long time ago, and it wasn't until recently I let her know. I said, actually, I wrote this about you, you know, just before we recorded it.
It's a great song. Yeah, go and check it out on the album, Who Said It Was Fair. Well, and Angie, I heard you say you kind of lack confidence as a singer. You didn't think you could be a singer. I mean, you're an amazing singer. I'd love to hear you do some Zeppelin covers.
Oh, Zeppelin? Okay, so I do all kinds of Zeppelin covers when we play, you know, our cover songs around here locally.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin's my favorite rock band of all time.
Yeah. I hear a little Zeppelin in the album.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. That's great. Because I think Robert Plant is a genius. He always sings a little kind of behind the pocket a bit, which is kind of hard to do sometimes, but I don't think he thinks about it. I think he just does.
There's not a whole lot she can't sing, you know. I mean, pretty much anything that we throw at her, she can produce.
Yeah, she's a hell of a singer.
I used to front bands myself years ago, and but then, you know, I just enjoyed doing harmony with her. Yeah. I enjoy playing bass with her. When a lot of what we do is a duet, you know. We do a lot of wineries and little things like that, and, you know, private parties here and there, weddings. You know, we do band stuff, but I personally like the duet thing because it becomes very personal.
It's an intimate setting.
Yeah, and, you know, when you got a bass and a keyboard, it's a really rounded sound. It fills a lot of space.
And I have sang since I was born. I don't really know any different. I think for me, that's where the feeling of maybe discomfort or apprehension comes from, because I don't know any different. I don't know what the big deal is. You know, I really don't. I have grown to understand, yes, I have a great gift, and I'm blessed and grateful for every bit of it. But there was music around me my whole entire life. I don't remember anything but that. And so to hear all these people make such fuss, if sometimes it's just like, what is going on? Doesn't everybody have this in their house? Because I did, you know.
Whenever like, you know, places that we're trying to play, all I say is, listen, I can blow smoke up your butt, but, you know, really, just listen to it and you'll understand.
Yeah, for sure. Go and listen to it. The album is Crazy World. Their brand new single, Surrender, is out now. Go and watch the video. It's an awesome video. Eleyet McConnell at EleyetMcConnell.com. Guys, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Here's Surrender. It's Eleyet McConnell. It's KIX 96.5.